Welcome back to Inside Politics here on KTN News. Let's stay with Politics 101. And President Uhuru Kenyatta on Friday blasted his deputy William Ruto, accusing him of misleading and radicalizing young people in the country instead of supporting what he called realistic programs that will provide solutions for them. In a veiled support for strange NASA principles, Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka, the president, said that the two are speaking his language, giving the clearest indication yet that Ruto is nowhere on the president's succession plans.
President Uhuru Kenyatta's much-anticipated tour of Ukambani was punctuated with not only economic tidings but also political undertones as he continued defending national government's big investment projects.
Hatutaweza kumaliza shida ya ukosefu wa kazi kwa vijana wetu. Hatutaweza kuinua hali ya maisha ya wananchi wetu bila infrastructure. Na ndipo nashukuru hawa viongozi. Ukisikia Raila akiongea, unasikia anasema infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure. Anaelewa ni nini inatakikana.
Speaking in Makueni after launching the Thwake Dam, Kenyatta took Deputy President William Ruto head on, accusing him of radicalizing the youth with his hustler narrative.
Sio tu kuongea kwa sababu unataka kuchafua fikira za vijana. Lazima uwe na mpango. Na mpango uwezi uwe naye usipofikiria mahitaji yale ambaye mwishowe itasaidia mwananchi kujisimamia. Mwananchi hataki kupewa, anataka apatiwe uwezo wa kujitafutia na kujisimamia.
The president wondered why he was being fought for reclaiming land in Ruai, set aside for the expansion of the sewerage system.
Unasikia wengine wakinipiga ya kwamba sijui nilifanya nini, lakini jameni, kama mradi wa sewage na ardhi ilikuwa ya sewage na tumesema irudi ndio wananchi huku chini waweze kupata maji safi, tumekosea wapi wenzangu? Tumekosea wapi wenzangu? Na ndipo tuwasema ya kwamba hizo mashamba lazima irudi.
Area leaders, among them Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka and the Southeastern Kenya governors Kivutha Kibwana, Charity Ngilu and Alfred Mutua, putting on a show of unity.
This is a serious project ambayo itageuza maisha ya wananchi, itaboresha hata zaidi mazingara yenyewe.
Hakuna siasa ndogo ndogo zitaharibu kazi yako.
ODM leader Raila Odinga was also on the president's entourage. Duncan Haemba, KTN News.
All right, before we talk about the political ramifications of this, and of course it's closely linked with what we were discussing earlier with the NASA issue, let's talk about very quickly the Ukambani tour by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Very quickly, you might have more information than we have on this. There was a a bit of an impasse, if you may, because you remember it has been postponed, the tour. Some people are saying that there are disagreements between the three governors in Ukambani with the Wiper leader Raila, Kalonzo Musyoka, and also so that the political shenanigans came in the way of all this. What is your take on the development tour of the president in Ukambani?
I think from the onset that the president was not only coming to do development or inspect development issues, but also to reassure the Kalonzo's backyard that going forward we are together with Kalonzo. I think that was also an important message for the Akamba community to hear it. In the same way that the president made pronouncements during Madaraka Day about Raila that in future alliances we shall be together, like that assurance is to appease the base. However, on matters development, and you look at the issues that the president did on that particular day, the only two programs that are currently running in the entirety of Makueni and Machakos is Thwake and Konza. We would have wished there were many for the president to launch. The wish list that was given to the president from get-go about Makueni, the Emali Ukia Road, the Itangini Tawa Road, there were so many roads that Jubilee government had promised people of Makueni that had not happened. And this is from 2016 to today, so before 2017 election. There's a particular road called Katua to Nunguni that started, and until today, 33 kilometers, which has never been finished 5 years down the road. Now, this was small issues that are very core and emotive to our people. But everybody knows, one, that the government is broke. So there's only so much Uhuru can do. And even at that tour, he talked about Konza, he talked about Tuake. On the other road, he says, hizi zote nimezisikia na ziko kwa mpango. Basically a statement of intent.
I heard him talk about the Tuake Bridge, but it has been done by the county government.
The Tuake Bridge has been done by the county government, connecting both sides, Mboni and Wote Town, leading to Tuake. That's the county that has done that. So there are things development-wise that were good. We do not begrudge the president. We know how we voted. What we are asking is if there could have been accelerated development. On the questions of the political ramifications, the chaos or disagreements that were emerging between the governors and the party leader Kalonzo of Wiper, it is really unfair for a person like Professor Kibwana, who in 2017 used the Wiper wave to get re-elected. It is really unfair for the person of Governor Charity Ngilu, who joined into the Wiper-NASA coalition, for her to get re-elected. It is worse because Mutua's political career started by him joining Wiper. Now, at this particular point, instead of us agreeing that the political leader of Ukambani is Kalonzo, you take these shenanigans to the doorstep of the president, we all look silly because all Kambas know what direction we'll take. And at the end of it, we get nothing. How do you merge, and this is where the questions that were being asked, how do you merge Machakos and Makueni and lump them in one day? Machakos County has its own needs. The president needs to exclusively go to Machakos and see the roads. In Makueni, they have their own needs, just like Kitui have their own needs. Where there would have been political union or political commonality of interest and say, let us showcase the Kamba nation, this man, we would have, I believe, would have gotten far much more than what we got in this event. But be that as it may, we are grateful for what we've seen. In terms of political ramifications, neither here nor there. We know the direction that Kalonzo will take is where majority of Kambas will go. That is not in this.
Mark Bichache, do you liken this visit to where we saw the president visit the Nyanza region, and what are the differences? What is your take on the challenge, the political challenge that Kalonzo is facing from the three governors especially?
Ben, I started this show by saying that politics is about numbers. When the president went to Nyanza, there was no question at all that in the pecking order of leadership of Nyanza, there is Raila Odinga, and he's deputized by governors and senators who are loyal to him, except one who pretends to exit but stays within the fold. In Ukambani, however, the kingpinship of one Kalonzo Musyoka is challenged at every turn. It is challenged by Charity Ngilu. It is challenged by Maendeleo Chapchap. It is challenged by the now UDA chairman, Mudhama. It is challenged by Kivuta Kibwana. And Kalonzo Musyoka, if he's entering the negotiation table for 2022, he's entering that negotiation in a weakened state. Now, my little study of negotiation tactics, even Donald J. Trump knows, you don't enter a national conversation with a wounded leg. The same is true of Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula, because the two are lawyers. But if you ask Wetangula, in his own county of Bungoma, how many MPs belong to Jubilee? How many of them, like Didimas Baraza, sing the tunes of Tanga Tanga? All of these are leaders who have failed to consolidate their backyard and come to the fore and say, I am undisputed. And this is a key factor. So the key difference between these two visits is the undisputed nature of these leaders. And by the way, if there is any question about what I'm saying, there is photographic evidence. Just tell me where Kalonzo sat, where Charity sat, where Raila sat.
Before this must get in, let me clarify this for avoidance of doubt, so that we do not peddle a perception, wrong perception. When you talk about Alfred Mutua as causing ruffles to Kalonzo Musyoka, there was a by-election of the senatorial candidate in Machakos. Alfred Mutua's candidate, the Honorable Katuku, did not get to the finish line. He pulled out of the race. Mudama and UDA, they had a candidate who finished a poor second out of nothing. So when you start talking about numbers and you want to present them, if Governor Mutua was strong in Machakos, this candidate would have won the senatorial election. But in Makueni, so that when we come out of this conversation, we don't leave our audience having a feeling that there's a problem in Ukambani with Kalonzo. Makueni, there was a by-election, Kitese Ward, which is a neighboring ward or where Professor Kibwana comes from. And that Professor Kibwana's candidate suffered immensely a big defeat. So if we are using the by-elections that happened not more than 6 months ago as a measure of popularity, then these people are charlatans.
Okay.
If they had candidates, if they have support, then their candidates would have won. So don't mistake a photo opportunity where people play shenanigans and you push Kalonzo to the periphery, and then you come to the street of Nairobi and say, you see how powerful you are? The Kamba people, they know that their leader is Kalonzo. Okay. Don't allow that to get into your head.
30 seconds. I need to
That's excellent spin. But we know by-elections are really an indicator of a real election. Let's go back to...
Assume Kalonzo had lost
Listen, let me finish. Let's go to... You know, it's the same thing I say about UDA and what they win in different places. In 2017, where the rubber meets the road, there are two serious casualties within the NASA fold. That is within Wetangula's backyard, where a lot of seats were lost to Jubilee, and in Kalonzo's backyard, where 3 seats went to Jubilee.
And the presidential vote?
Listen, you just argued based on by-elections. Now I'm giving you the same elections at a parliamentary level. Now you want to go presidential. Let me finish my statement. My statement is this, that whether you like it or not, Kalonzo is walking into this negotiation while licking wounds, because he's got governors within his region who are biting at him. That is a statement of fact.
All right.
Let me address it from 2 levels, from a technical issue and a political issue. From a technical issue, it's a sad day for Kenya, that the only thing Governor Mutua can display to President Kenyatta is the governor's office. And you know, he did it with a lot of alacrity, and he was giving himself a pat on the back. So I'm wondering, what happens to Mwinzi in Machakos? Has that governor's mansion, a replica of the White House, affected her bank balance? That's number 1. Number 2, a crisis of leadership, parliamentary leadership in Ukambani. There are the MPs who have got the yam and the knife, as it were, who are responsible for budgets, are still begging for President Kenyatta to give them roads. Yet they sit at the National Assembly. And the same is the case for Lonyanza. So I'm beginning to wonder, our members of the National Assembly, they go to the president crying for roads. Do they understand that they've got the yam and knife as far as the budget is concerned? Now let's go to the political space. And Kyoko has put it very well, and Kyoko introduced me to politics. I must give him credit. Now, this gentleman called Kalonzo has not held office for the last 10 years. He's not held an office driving, okay, he drives in a GK car because of his pensions, but he's not had a political office. All the governors we have in Machakos are his byproducts. And I can bet, last time I said I can bet my grandmother's goat, that he cannot face a challenge from any governor in Machakos. There's no challenge. None at all. So that if you're thinking that Governor Mutua can actually give Musyoka any challenge, then the scenario analysis is wrong. Charity Ngilu, scenario analysis is wrong. Whatever happens is wrong. And I don't know what has happened to Mark Bichachi today. He doesn't seem to understand the role of by-elections. How did President Kenyatta become president? He started TNA a few days to the elections, and he got 2 by-elections, one in Kajiado and Muranga. That propelled him. I don't know what Mark Bichachi would be saying here had Kalonzo lost the by-election in Machakos a few days ago. I don't know what you'd be saying here had Musala lost Matungu, and Wetangula lost the other one in Buchai. By-elections are so important that you only dismiss them at your own peril or if you're having political spin.
But also, maybe to add on a little bit, let me add this thing. When Uhuru went to Nyanza, there was a lot of exclusivity in terms of pecking order, in terms of the role of Raila into this conversation and the discourse that happened. And all the NASA principal agreed into allowing Uhuru to enjoy exclusivity with Raila in that particular region. In this Ukambani Tour, and it was reported, when Kalonzo saw Raila, ala, umekuja, hata wewe. You know that these are the small bites. Let me tell you, these are the small issues.
Total politics.
No. This was reported. You know that it is obvious from Kalonzo's demeanor that Raila was not anticipated unexpected guest in that thing. And the people who invited Raila, we know who they are, and it was meant to create the spin that Mark is placing here. That there are many people taking a snipe at Kalonzo. But he is not able to control. That really is the wrong narrative, and I think we need to mature this. Let's say this politics of betrayal are not. Let's not normalize.
All right, but let me go to Hezbon. Let me go to Hezbon now. Hezbon has been quiet for a while. Hezbon, give us your thoughts on this tour of Ukambani by the president and the political, shenanigans that we are discussing here.
Well, I think for starters, the development agenda by the president, which is to a large extent more apolitical than political, is something that we need to laud. The fact that the president visits different parts of this country and launches grand projects is a good thing for this country, despite the political undertones that emerge from it. Second, I think I've listened to my co-panelists, and it is interesting, how, the person of Kalonzo Musyoka is coming to the fore. But one thing that we need to make clear is that because of the nature of politics in this country, and the fact that for you to get 50+1, you'll need to coalesce around other political leaders, we cannot underplay the place of Kalonzo Musyoka. I mean, you compare Kalonzo and the three governors from Ukambani region, and just like Dismas and Kioko put it, he is the undisputed leader. And I think Mark has also alluded to that. But the truth of the matter is he must learn from the other political kingpins. He must look at what William Ruto is doing, what Raila is doing, what President Uhuru Kenyatta is doing in whipping his people around an ideology that can bring them all together. We live in a country where you cannot allow people from the same political backyard as you to aim their spear at each other, least of all at you. And I think Kalonzo Musyoka has allowed that for some time, and it could be maybe because of his diplomatic nature. But be it as it may, other than Governor Charity Ngilu, who is a powerhouse, I would say, because if you look at the person of Charity Ngilu and Kalonzo, if you are to build a coalition with them and go all over the country, they'll have this galvanizing effect, whether they have votes in their backyard or not. But you take Kalonzo's name in my native Suna East and the larger Migori area and say he's part of your team, it actually reassures people that your team is solid. Now take Governor Mutua, no one knows him, I can tell you for free. And he doesn't have that clout to pull votes beyond his region. And we've seen in the last two by-elections in Machakos, he has lost. Though you'd also say that Kalonzo did not cover himself in glory, because Mutua can actually say his candidate lost simply because of one Kenya, not because of Kalonzo. And I think these are the nitty-gritties that Kalonzo has to address. That in a by-election in your backyard, do you need Mudavadi? Do you need Gideon Moi? Do you need Wetangula to come and support you? The fact that they came and supported you, what does that do to your political clout? It diminishes it. And just like Dismas says, when you come to the table, you'll be reminded of these things. That first, you have war in your backyard. Okay. Then number two, you've been helped, to propel yourself.
I want to talk about
going forward, and I think because he's so critical, I think going forward, he has to assert himself. He has to put himself in a situation where no one will find a way of demeaning his stature in a political discussion table.
All right, I want us to talk about something else before we wind up on this issue. Mark, let me come to you. We saw the president, trying, to put the two principles together, Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka, and generally trying to tell them they have to be united in all this. There seems to be a spirited effort to galvanize the NASA pact against the deputy president. What does he say about the deputy president's clout? Now that we have been talking about clout.
Any person who analyzes Kenyan politics and ignores the person of William Ruto does that at his own peril. The person to beat is William Ruto. And if it's not William Ruto, it is whoever will be in charge of NASA. Now, why is this critical? The reason I say this is because in a formula where you need 50 plus 1, there is no third horse. I know we want to say that our democratic space legally does allow for it, but the practicality of it doesn't. And therefore, any coalition that is formed on a fractured basis, whether it is led by Kalonzo, by Raila, or even William Ruto himself, will fall by the wayside. The president knows this and he understands this because having won 2 elections, he understands the need of uniting your troops. Let us be clear that if Kalonzo Musyoka had not pulled a runner from ODM, Raila would likely have won 2007 by a very clear margin. If Mudavadi had not pulled a runner from CORD in 2013, then Raila Odinga would have been president of this country. And that's just the numbers, if you put them together. Let me just finish.
Interesting that Aleon Bichache says that the 800,000 votes of Kalonzo and about 500,000 for Raila are material. In the same conversation, within an hour, is done a quick U-turn and say that those 2 people are responsible for Raila not becoming president.
Let's allow him to make his point. If you exercise patience, you would understand that if you have one piece of firewood lighting very brightly alone, it will not burn anybody. But if you put a few firewoods together, it creates a lot of fire. So definitely, hata kwa Harambe, the guy who brings 10 bob and 1,000 bob is what gets to 1 million. So that's logic moving forward.
Yeah, I like that logic. Now there's clarity.
Let me continue. So the question here is this, and this is the critical thing. The president understands that there are people who support his legacy. When it comes to BBI, it is NASA that has supported his legacy. When it comes to infrastructure, it is NASA that has supported his legacy. When it comes to passing bills even in parliament, it is NASA. And therefore, if he has the desires he has for this country to continue, he must hold NASA together. But Ben, there is one little line I'd like to add. The Uhuru Kenyatta presidency is insured and underwritten by the NASA coalition. Uhuru does not just need NASA for 2022 and beyond. He needs them to stay together if his legislative agenda is going to continue. If today NASA falls apart, the Tanga wing will have the president's agenda in parliament for lunch, because Tanga is focused on one basic thing: everything against Uhuru. They will say no to everything. So Uhuru needs NASA more now than he will need them in 2022. So for him to hold them together is him keep staving off his lame duck presidency.
Do you agree?
Of course, unlikely. Probability of agreeing with that statement is 0. From the start of the NASA administration, or rather Jubilee administration, we were told that we are going to engage in big-time projects because that's what Morah needed. So that you have SGR and other white elephants. Now, the white elephants stand on top of Mount Kenya, and now we are being told by the same Ruto administration.
White elephant? Is it not working?
Well, I'm addressing that, also be patient. Now, this project, all of a sudden, again, we are being told that we now need to come with a bottoms-up philosophy, so that instead of coming up with a road, then we give Morah money for the cottage industry. So now I'm beginning to wonder, how come we are doing these U-turns? And then also, Mark Bichache talks eloquently about Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy, President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. One begins to wonder, the moment you mention Kibaki, infrastructure, the roads, but the moment you mention President Kenyatta, which legacy are we talking about, when cumulatively the socioeconomic status of all Kenyans is going south, bank balances, things are thick. And then finally, when you look at these pictures, when you do sensitivity analysis and scenario analysis, increasingly it's becoming clear that in fact, William Samoei Ruto is President Kenyatta's candidate for the next election. Because why would President Kenyatta be bothered that Raila Odinga, Musalia Mudavadi, and Kalonzo are not having coffee together? Shouldn't he be uniting Jubilee whether it's a UDA, why is he interested in the neighbor's house? In my village, we are told that if two houses are on fire, your house and your neighbor's house, the first thing you do, if you believe in the Bible, love your neighbor as you love yourself, you put up the fire in your house first, then you go to the neighbors. So out of curiosity...
That's a critical point.
Yeah, why is President Kenyatta very keen on NASA all of a sudden, instead of focusing at home?
All right.
And then a few days ago, you recall that the Deputy President, William Samoei Ruto, went to visit President Museveni. And then people described that as an act of defiance. Again, basics of international relations. How can you have a vice president going to meet with another president in an official meeting without President Kenyatta's approval? Now, when you start joining the dots, and if you are in NASA, you should be very careful that the president could be pulling up a trick on you.
I think...
that's deep. We need to get into it. We need a whole show for that. But tell me, why do you think the president needs the NASA band together now?
Because the NASA band, as it is today, as it was in 2017, got 45 or 47% of the total votes. That's simple arithmetic. Leave alone the economic agenda, leave alone the legacy issue. Today, where the president stands, his greatest fear is a Ruto presidency. He knows that. He knows if he blinks, Ruto becomes president. What Ruto will do with that seat, we are all, there's a lot of scaremongering going on. but everybody knows. And for Uhuru to succeed, those are the fundamental questions Uhuru is asking. You guys need to stick together, first and foremost. Because, and in any case, if you bolt out, if Mudavadi bolts out of this NASA and goes to Ruto, the match will be given is deputy president. Because there's no room for negotiation in the UDA conversation.
All right.
Yeah? If Kalonzo bolts, he goes there, is given deputy president. There's no room for negotiation. So President Uhuru is impressing on these NASA people, guys, stay together. Then the next question that the NASA people are asking within themselves, we will stay together, but we need to have that conversation on the leadership of this thing. What is it that we can do to help you deliver 20% of your vote to us? Because we get that 20%, we are already in Canada, 50+1. But if we stay together as we are, we come with the same ticket that we came last time, invariably, the outcome will be the same. Because it will be 48 to 45%. Now, Uhuru cannot, again, and this is the thing we must talk about. When people start saying there's a system, Uhuru cannot be at the forefront of illegitimizing his governance by saying, I only got elected because there was a top-up factor. He must show the people of NASA that I won this election because there are people who supported us. So the thing Uhuru must deliver to NASA brigade is votes.
We'll get
the
more
conversation of system undermines the legitimacy. No president will ever want to go that path.
We'll get into the Uhuru factor after this quick commercial break as we get into what will be happening in Kiambaa in the next few hours as voters there go to the polls to have that parliamentary by-election. There's also another by-election, or civic by-election in Muguga ward, still in the county of Kiambu. There's a tweet here from Truth Master who says, on Ukambani Tour, Uhuru attended as the president, Raila as the AU High Commissioner for Infrastructure, and Kalonzo as the Ukambani Kingpin. Period. Keep your tweets coming. Keep the conversation ongoing on Twitter. The hashtag is Inside Politics. Tell us what you think. When we come back, we shall be getting into what's happening in Kiambaa. KTN's Emmanuel Toy is there live for us. We shall be speaking to him shortly. Stay with us.